So hi everybody. Good morning. Well, I think it's good afternoon for most people. I don't believe there's anybody that should still be in the morning at this time because I think I'm at the end. Oh no, I think people in this place should still be in the morning. So hi, my name is Tomilola and I'm going to be the speaker for today's session. And today's session is targeted at job search strategies for full-time recruiting. And I will take you through the table of content for the event today. So we're going to be having myself, which is introduction of the presenter. Most of you already know me, but I would present myself, introduce myself for people that don't already know me. And I will talk a little bit about Titanial Consulting. I will take you through the anchors of an effective job search strategy. Before that, I will take you through a self-reflection slide, which is if you did not get a good internship or the internship of your dreams, what exactly went. We'll talk a little bit about the National Black event. We'll have a Q&A, and then we'll talk about next steps. So who am I? My name is Tomilola. I'm the founder of Titanial Consulting. I'm also a senior technical product manager at Microsoft in the security organization. I graduated from my MBA in 2019 at Ohio State Fisher College of Business. I've been at Microsoft for 5 years. Tomorrow is my exact 50th anniversary at Microsoft. And so that's really very exciting for me. And I actually moved to the US 7 years ago next week. So it's been an interesting ride so far. And I'm very excited about sharing all of my experiences, my failures, and my knowledge with you all. So Titanial Consulting. Before I go into what this exact session is about, for a lot of people who don't know Titanial Consulting is a graduate school admissions and career coaching company. And the reason why we actually exist is born out of my own struggles, the challenges that I actually did face coming to the United States, and also my passion and my excitement and my drive for actually helping others achieve the next level of their career and academic potentials. Even before I moved to the United States, I've always been very big on career development. And I was a strong support for my friends, my peers, and even my juniors, even while in Nigeria. So moving to the United States, having my own challenges and knowing that a lot of people did not have the opportunity to have second chances like I did, I made it my life mission to make sure that people do not make the same mistakes that I made, because most people don't have the second chances. They don't have second chances, third chances. Sometimes people just have that one chance. And I need to make sure that you are actually ready and prepared for that one chance that you might eventually get. So that's why we actually exist. Our service offerings are divided into two main parts: graduate admissions and graduate careers. For the purpose of this webinar, we will be focusing just on graduate careers. If you want to learn a little bit more about what we do for graduate admissions, you can reach out to us. My email is anu@titanalconsulting.com. It will in the chat box if you would like to learn more about what we do for graduate admissions. But right now we'll be targeting graduate career services. So this is just a bit of our success story. We have a lot of our clients have got into several schools. We actually have from top 5, top 20, top 30, all the cater of schools that you can ever imagine. We have clients there, and our clients have also gotten job offers at all industries that you can possibly think about: renewable energy, investment banking, technology, the educational space, every industry you can think about. Consulting, we actually already have clients that do work there. So today's session, I see a few people here that I actually do know and a few people that I do not know at all. And I like it because this is very intimate. I think we're just about 25 or 24 actually in this session today, which is really amazing. Now, this session is primarily targeted at rising second years. So people that have finished their first year MBA or graduate school program and are starting their second year next month. However, it is not just limited to them, because the insights that I'll be sharing today can be used by anybody, even people that have graduated from their MBA or their graduate school, and people that are just coming into business school. Now, the reason why I'm just mentioning this as a caveat is what I will be saying will be primarily tailored to people that are still in school. So will be most relevant to people that are between their first year and their second year, and somewhat still relevant to people that are just coming into school. But for people that already graduated, it will have some relevance, but there's some things that I might say that might not really help you really very well, which is when it comes to university recruiting versus just-in-time recruiting, because it's very, very different. Now, we're starting here with university recruiting versus just-in-time recruiting. I don't know how many of us actually do know the difference, so I would take my time to explain it. So university recruiting, like a lot of people think, is not that the company actually does come to your school to recruit. No, that is not university recruiting at all. That is a form of university recruiting, but that is not the entire university recruiting. University recruiting is a program that a lot of companies do have that hires people from schools, right? In fact, there's some companies that actually do have, I think that's going to be like high school recruiting. But when it comes to university recruiting, hiring interns and full-time hires from universities, either from the bachelor degree, master's, MBA, or PhD program. Everything is university recruiting. So university recruiting as a program is a program that exists within companies' human resource teams. That is university recruiting, because companies actually have programs where they hire people. So they hire people through universities and they hire people from the industry. Now, hiring from the industry is called just-in-time recruiting. Now, university recruiting differs a lot from just-in-time recruiting, because for university recruiting, your education is priority over the kind of work experience that you have. And that is why people that are in undergrad who never really had any proper job or any work experience are able to get into like internship programs and full-time programs, because the university recruiting hiring managers prioritize your degree. As a graduate school student, especially if you're an MBA or you're a master's in business analytics or business school student, these companies prioritize the fact that you actually do have an MBA or a master's in business analytics. So a lot of times when they have university recruiting roles opened for those graduate programs, they are targeting roles that align with that graduate program. That's why for an MBA, as an example, the MBA is a very broad program. You can do operations, you can do strategy, you can do analytics, you can do finance, you can do marketing, you can do a whole lot of things. And that's why if you find university recruiting MBA programs, you will see that there are different types of roles. However, if you get into like Masters of Accounting, which is a program, the university recruiting programs are very focused on accounting alone, because the master's program is Masters of Accounting. So you need to look at university recruiting from, okay, what is my degree? What is my program? And that's what the companies are trying to hire for, which is very different from just-in-time. Just-in-time recruiting, they want to hire you based off of your work experience. So if I was looking for a job today, I am going to be under just-in-time. I can never be under university recruiting, except if I go and do a PhD in a particular area, like, okay, and I actually have left my role at Microsoft 100%, and I'm doing a full-time PhD. And if I'm looking for a job, then I might fall under university recruiting, but I will never be under university recruiting for a very long time, except if I want to do a PhD. It will be just in time. And for just in time, they're going to look at what's my work experience? What have I done for the last 5 years? What have I done before my MBA program? Do they have a particular role that fits my exact work experience? Those are the things that they're going to be looking out for. But for university recruiting, that's not it. They are looking majorly at your degree. Now, that doesn't mean that your resume doesn't have to be great, or that doesn't mean that you don't have to showcase certain skills, not at all. The only thing that it means is that it gives you more opportunities. Yeah, it allows you to have a breadth of opportunities. For me, I've been a technical PM for 2 years. I have done technical marketing for 3 years. And prior to that, I worked at PwC for 3 years. And I was an auditor. So as you can see, I've done different things. Now, if I'm looking for a job now, I'll most likely be more aligned to getting a technical PM role, because that's what I've done for the last 2 years, and it kind of aligns with the technical marketing role that I've done. Would I be able to get a job as an accountant? Maybe not, because that's far behind, and it might be almost impossible for me to land that. Not impossible, but just almost impossible. Or maybe that's because I just don't want to apply for that role. But just that's the side. But as an MBA or a graduate student, you don't really have that barrier for you. So irrespective of the work experience that you have, because you have an MBA or because you're going to a particular, you actually have a particular graduate degree or you are in a particular graduate program, it opens you up to more opportunities because they are looking for transferable skills majorly for you as a student. They don't expect you to have the exact experience and skill set required for all of the roles. In fact, they don't even expect you to have any of it because for most of the university recruiting roles, the job titles are not very specific. And that's why you will see for university recruiting roles, you will see things like, oh, product marketing manager, or you see strategy associate. They never say product marketing manager for a product or strategy associate for a team. They make it very broad. That's because they don't really care about the particular team. They're just trying to hire you en masse, you all. And when you are hired, they will not distribute you in teams. So that's just like the summary of the difference between university recruiting and just in time. And for most of you that are still in school, you are very poised for university recruiting. Now, one thing about university recruiting is you're supposed to land these jobs 9 months, 1 year, latest 6 months before you get the job. So if you're thinking about graduating next year, July, you should start preparing to land your offer now. In fact, if you are actually graduating next year, May and June, for university recruiting roles, you must land that offer before October, November. If not, nothing for you. You hardly have the university recruiting roles interviewing you next year. So for a lot of people that are in schools that they tell me, oh, I'm graduating next year, May, and you want to start looking for jobs in February, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot because those jobs that you're looking for in February are not university recruiting roles, one. They will be just-in-time roles. And for just-in-time roles, these companies want to fill the roles immediately. In February, you're not able to resume work immediately because you don't graduate till May or June. And then you have to wait till May or June. And then you have already graduated. It reduces your chance of even getting something because you already left school. So it makes it much, much harder for you. And then they're trying to fit you into a square peg in a square hole. That's what just-in-time recruiting does. But university recruiting doesn't do that. For the purpose of this presentation, I will go more into the university recruiting realm. Now, for university recruiting, these programs start, like I said, between 6 months or a year before, especially if you're not seeking internships, you're seeking full-time. You already have a lot of the full-time positions already opened right now. Now, how exactly do you optimize yourself for that? How do you make sure that you're prepared for that? In this market, especially if you're in North America, if you're in the United States specifically, not trying to scare you or not trying to make you feel agitated, but it is a very tough, hard market. You have a lot of competition. One, companies are not hiring as they should be hiring, or they are not hiring as they have hired in the past. So they're hiring just fewer people. Now, there are many more of you looking for jobs because there are not a lot of options out there. So there are very many people looking for fewer opportunities. What this means that you have minimum to no margin of error allowed. For a lot of you, you might only get just one interview. You might only get that one opportunity. And if you mess it up, that's it. And this is not to scare you, but that's just it, right? Sometimes miracles don't happen. So if you do not prepare ahead of those opportunities, you are not going to get it. And this is not about you thinking through and saying, oh, well, maybe another one will come. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. So I see here we have a good mix of Africans and Asians and diverse people. But I know a lot of Africans have this mindset of, well, if I didn't get it, it wasn't meant for me. It was meant for you, but you messed it up. You need to have that at the back of your mind. There is no such thing of it wasn't meant for you because somebody did get that position. So if you didn't get that position, that means that you were not prepared, you were not ready, you didn't put yourself in the position to land that position. And that opportunity might never come back. So you need to know that you should actually put yourself in the position where you know that it's important that if I don't get this one, I'm going to get the next one. So I need you to have that at the back of your mind. I need you to have at the back of your mind that miracles are not coming to happen, right? You need to be ready for those opportunities because they are very, very, very limited. And I know it might be very scary, but the intention is not to scare you, but I don't like to lie. And I am not going to tell you what is not true. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you what the reality is and what the truth is. If you're not prepared, if you're not ready, somebody else takes the opportunity and you miss out. So no mistakes, right? For you, a lot of you coming to your second year, you have 0 chances of mistakes. So you need to take this as seriously as you can. Now, I want to do some form of reflection. And you can do this reflection now. You can do it at a later time. But if you are a first year, you're starting your second year in August or in September, what happened? You didn't get an internship. What did you do wrong? And what should you do? I was speaking to somebody the other day, and the person said, I did everything perfectly. And I told the person, if you did everything perfectly, then you would have a job. How can you tell me that you did everything perfectly? That means, first of all, you're not even self-aware enough to know that you messed up. And that is one thing that you should be self-aware enough to know. You need to be very self-critical and very aware. So if at this point you didn't get a good internship, that means you didn't do something well. And at the end of the day, your entire life, irrespective of if you are not the one that put yourself in that position, you are responsible for it. And you need to make sure that you see that you are responsible. And that's the first step. I also didn't get a paid internship. And I was lucky that I was able to get a startup in Ohio, a very amazing man that was able to give me the opportunity to intern with him. But I didn't think that anybody did anything wrong to me. I didn't blame my school career services. I didn't blame the companies I interviewed with. I blamed myself because I knew that if I was ready now, if I was prepared way ahead of time, I would have been able to take up those opportunities, but I was not prepared. I was not ready. So that was my own fault, entirely my fault. So the first thing that you need to do is, if right now, maybe you've graduated already, you don't have a job, or you're a first year, you're going to your second year, you didn't get a good internship. First, you need to acknowledge that it is your fault and you are 100% responsible for the position that you are in. No other person is responsible, not your school career services, not your family member, but you. If you are not at that point that you think that you are responsible, then you need to go and think about it, think about all of your actions and figure out why you think you're not responsible. And then come back when you think you're responsible. Because if you're not responsible, there's nothing that I can ever tell you in this life that you would ever be able to admit. So if you failed an interview, you are responsible. If you didn't get an interview, you're responsible. Irrespective of any other action that the world could have thrown to you, you're very responsible. So you need to sit back and say, what exactly did I not do right? Think retrospectively and say, how many interviews did I get? If I actually did get 7 interviews and I failed all my 7 interviews, you don't have, sorry for people that are not Africans, but you don't have any spiritual problems. You do not. Because there are people that are not religious and have nothing that have passed those interviews. So if you failed it, you failed it because you didn't prioritize what you were meant to prioritize, because you didn't prepare way in advance. And there's no miracle that can happen for you not preparing way in advance. Nothing just happens that way. So you need to think retrospectively, and you need to identify where exactly did you make a mistake, right? And I'm going to go through the 4 anchors of an effective job search strategy. And within those 4 anchors, I will kind of highlight, I will explain the anchors, and I will tell you where you could possibly have made a mistake. And you need to figure out where exactly did you make those mistakes. The 4 anchors are application, resume, networking, and interviewing that we'll go through in the next slide. But you need to identify in these 4 areas, with these 4 anchors, where exactly did I make my mistake, right? Was I spending time watching a lot of TV, which a lot of people do not want? Was I spending time scrolling on TikTok? I see a lot of my clients, and some of them are like, oh, I'm struggling so much. But you're always updating your status. I don't think you're struggling. I think you're living okay. You just don't want to prioritize studying. You don't just want to prioritize putting your work for career development. For a lot of people, they're like, I'm sorry, I don't think I can pay somebody to review my resume. I don't think I can pay for an interview prep, but you can pay for a concert. Okay, just your priorities, which is fine. Most likely the concert is even more expensive than using a coach. But you know that that was your own decision and not anybody else's decision. So you need to know that, you need to acknowledge it, and you need to say, I need to do things better. And then you need to come up with strategies to mitigate those gaps. So if you're seeing, okay, these are the mistakes that I have made, how exactly do I mitigate those gaps? What do I do for my second year to make sure that things are different. Because for a lot of you, internships, you still have like university recruiting internship interviews in like February or March. For just in time, you don't have that though. Most of your opportunities for just in time are capped at October. So you literally have just like the next 4 months to make it happen, the next 3 months to make it happen. And if you're not prepared way in advance, there's no miracle. Like, there's no miracle. I tell people this, for my full time, I started interviewing, doing mock interviews from June till my final round. My final round for Microsoft was in November. I interviewed twice a week with my career services. And I also built my own interview stories on my own every week, every day, from June to November 30th. Imagine if you were competing with me. How exactly would you have gotten the offer if they were going to pick between me and you? It's not possible, because if you had not practiced the way I have practiced and you just woke up a week before preparing for the interview, there's no miracle that's going to happen for you. It can't just happen, because there's somebody that spent 6 months preparing, and there's nothing that beats preparation. There's nothing that beats practice. There's nothing that beats putting in the work. So if you're not going to put in the work, there's somebody out there putting in the work, burning the midnight oil, and they will get those opportunities. So even if you think you're already putting in the work, you're not putting in enough. You're not putting in enough, because if you're not getting the results, then you're not putting in enough. You need to put in more, because you are going to be competing with people that are more aggressive than me, and they will get those offers while you don't. So you need to see that you have those 3 months, right? And I know that there are a few people here who already graduated from school. I know that this is not tailored to you, and if you want to learn more about what you should do, probably schedule a call with me much later. But this is for people that are currently probably getting into school or moving from their first year to their second year. Then you need to have an accountability partner. You need to have somebody that you're accountable to, somebody that is your friend or your enemy, doesn't matter. So far, you people are actually on the same track, thinking about the same things. And this is not somebody that when you have conversations, you guys spend the first hour talking. No, somebody that you're very accountable to, that you actually spend your time being very, very diligent. And you need to think through it, because for most people here in school, something that I struggled with in my first year was I was always going home. After class, I was always going home. Home is a little depressing, especially if you're an international student, or if you're not even used to the area. Like, you might even be an American, a domestic student, but you don't live in that school area. Your family is not there. It's very, very depressing. Why are you going home? What's happening at home? Why can't you be in the school? Why can't you be in the library? You're going home to do what? To cook, to watch TV. You need to make sacrifices. If you don't make sacrifices for your life now to get results, you will make sacrifices after that you don't want to, that will not be beneficial to you at all. So I don't see any reason why you're always in your house. In my second year, I did things very differently. I didn't get home till like 11 p.m. or 12 midnight most times, because I spent my time studying in the libraries. I waited till the public library closed, or I stayed in my business school. First of all, it helped my mental health because I was with my friends, I was with my classmates. It was easier for me to learn, right, than just being in my house. So there's no reason why you are in the house. And if you claim that, oh, I think I do better at home. If you actually think you do better at home, but you did not get the results that you were supposed to get last year, that means you don't do better at home. And this is not a time to deceive yourself. You don't do better at home. You need to figure out how exactly do you do better. So you need to think about it that way. And then you need to use a coach. Now, I'm not saying you have to use 13-hour services. That's fine. I mean, it would be great. It would be nice if you use 13-hour services, but you don't always have to. You need to figure out, where's my coach? Do you use your school career services? For a lot of you, I see a lot of students say, oh, career services are not good. Career services, first of all, your school is a platform. Career services can do as much as you allow them do. It is your responsibility to use career services. It is your responsibility to get them to do their work. It is not their responsibility. You are not 16 years old. You are an entire adult in graduate school. So if right now you are still bitching about career services is not good, then I don't think you're even going to get anything, because you have not even realized that you are the problem. So career services is that go and use career services. Have mock interviews with them twice a week. Make sure they don't breathe. Make sure they don't breathe. Make sure you are always in their faces. That's their job. That's what they are meant to do. If you don't use them, you are wasting your school fees, you're wasting everything. And a lot of you actually did take a loan to come to business, so you're just wasting your loan. And if you got a full scholarship, you are wasting the money of the person that gave you the scholarship. So you're wasting resources that are there for you to actually succeed. You are wasting it. Why are you wasting resources? Use your school career services. Use a coach. Because if you actually knew everything, you would have gotten something right now. But because if you didn't get something, that means you don't know it. So you need to acknowledge yourself enough to say that, okay, I don't think I know this thing. Let me use people. Let people help me. Right. And of course, you can always reach out to me, Titanial Consulting. And this is my nice face. So you can imagine I'm actually nice if you ask some people. But I don't take it easy with you, because I just don't I don't just take it easy with you. You cannot be sleeping. Like, you need to be on your feet. You need to be on your feet. Life is very difficult. There's nobody out there that has it easy. It looks like they have it easy, but they put in a lot of work. So now, after all of this retrospective thinking, let me now bring it back into defining your job search strategy. Using these 4 areas, you're able to figure out where you actually did make a mistake: application, resume, networking, and interviewing. Your application strategy is how you apply, where you apply, and when you apply. How you apply, where you apply, and when you apply. Those 3 things have to align really well. How you apply is the platform that you use for applications. So do you apply directly to the company? Do you wait for the roles to be posted on Indeed or LinkedIn, right? Do you prioritize Indeed over LinkedIn, right? When you apply is what time do you apply? I have conversations with people and they tell me, oh, I applied to this role. It was posted in July, but I applied in October. I can't even take you seriously to start with. If you applied for a role that was posted 3 months ago, I don't even think you're a serious person. Let's just start from there. Because think about it. Sit down and think about it. Put yourself in the shoes of the recruiter. A recruiter published a role today. Published it. Even if the recruiter says that the role will be closed in November, 100 people already applied this week. The recruiter goes in, looks at those 100 people. The recruiter just wants to take like 10 or 20. Out of those 100 people that applied, 80 of them have solid resumes. The recruiter is going to go on with those 80. The only thing that will make the recruiter come back is if all of the 80 fail the entire recruitment process or do not accept the offers. What are the odds of that happening? So why are you trying to be a prince or a princess by waiting till October to apply for a role that was posted in July? And then you say, oh, they didn't get back to me. What do you mean they didn't get back to you? How would they have gotten back to you? How? Think about it. How is it even possible that they would get back to you, right? So I think we've already talked about where you apply, when you apply, how you apply. I think it's when, how, where. Yeah. So we've talked about that. Now you need to think through, for your application strategy, I'm not going to go deep into that because those are sessions that I actually teach in class. But you need to think about those 2 things really well, those 3 things really well. And if you're not applying on time, if you're not using the right platforms for your application, if you are waiting for the platforms, the roles to show up on platforms before chasing them, you might actually be making a mistake. If you don't have a focus versus a broad strategy, you might actually be making a mistake. You need to have both of them, by the way. So you need to think through that. What is my application strategy? When do I apply? How many roles do I apply to? I speak to people and they're like, oh, I only applied to 15. You apply to 15 roles in the entire thing, and you're surprised you didn't get an interview. How exactly would you have gotten an interview? I just want to know. If you apply to 15 roles out of hundreds of roles that actually even sponsor international students, if you're an international student, you need to think about it. You need to apply to a breadth of roles. And then the type of roles you apply to. If you're the kind of person that you are so fixated on, this is what I want to do, then I don't think you are the right fit for graduate school in America or the right fit for an MBA program. Because if you actually moved away from your country, that's if you're an international student, you move to another country and you're so hell-bent on it's only one thing you want to do, you don't have the growth mindset. First of all, how do you know what you don't even know? So how can you say, I don't want to do something that I don't know? One thing a friend always says is, if you get a job, if you are out of job and there's a job that they give you today that would prevent you from leaving the US or running out of your F1 status, if you were going to take that job, irrespective, you should have taken that job from the beginning. You should have applied to that role from the beginning. I don't see any reason why you are in business school and you're saying, I don't want to apply for this role. No, I don't think I'm passionate. What do you mean? For domestic students still have a desire for passion. You're an international student, I'm confused. What do you mean by passion? What do you mean passion? If you like passion, stay back in your house, in your home. Like you mean you are passionate. Tell me about it. I want to know. What's making you passionate? Have you ever even worked in a sales role in the United States? Have you worked in a marketing role in the United States? So what do you mean you are passionate about marketing for tech? What does that even mean? Are you there? Do you work there? You don't even work there. You don't even know what you're saying. You don't know what you're saying. So there's no such thing about passion. You are only passionate about roles that you've already gotten an offer for, and then you get to select. You are passionate after you get to select. You're not passionate before you apply to roles. So if you sit down and say, I'm only passionate about applying to roles in particular locations, I don't even take you seriously. For starters, I can't take you seriously because do you really want a job or you are playing? And the thing about roles are, especially university recruiting roles, the title of the role does not even align 100% or even 50% with what you would do. My first role in Microsoft was marketing, but I did technical marketing, consulting, and analytics. I would never have thought that was it. And if I didn't apply for that marketing role, I used to be an accountant. Imagine I said, oh, I will never do marketing because I thought it was going to be content marketing. But it was not. It was more consulting work, which even aligned with my past experience. But if I was so fixated, if I was so close-minded, and I said I wanted to do finance, I probably would not have a job, probably would be back home, probably would have had an accelerated career that I do have right now at Microsoft. But I made myself very open-minded. You must be open-minded to your applications. So if a company has 5 available roles, you apply to all 5 available roles. There is no need for you not applying. The worst that can happen to you is a rejection. If you don't apply for those roles, the recruiters are not going to move your application across board. So like all of those passion things that people are talking about, like just keep the passion somewhere, keep it. When you get offers, then you can now decide to be passionate. If you don't have offers, there's no passion there. You need to be able to prioritize. If you don't get this, there are some people that if they don't get a role, they are fine going back and starting from where they were before. But if you actually really want to grow your career, think about it this way. I get into a good company. Even if this is not the role I want, getting in the company is enough for me to transition. Now I'm doing technical product management. How could I have even gotten there from accounting? What are the odds? But I got into the company. I said, oh, I actually do like this technical marketing. And then I decided I fell in love with something else. You evolve as a person. That's the reason why you are in business school. You evolve. If you are stuck, that means you're not evolving. That means you don't have a growth mindset. You have a fixed mindset. And a fixed mindset is not going to help you in any way. You need to have a growth mindset. So you need to think about it. For your applications, have I been very headstrong on certain applications, saying that this is the only thing that I'm going to apply to? If that's what you have done all through, then you probably made a mistake. So figure out all of those things and say, where exactly did I make a mistake in my application strategy? Then your resume strategy. For your resume strategy, you need like content of resume format, and resume alignment. For your resume format, I believe most of you in most business schools have great resume formats. So I don't really bother so much about your resume format. I bother a lot about your content of the resume. Now, the content of the resume, which is the content of your bullet points focus on what you did, why you did, how you did it, and the result. Your bullet points focus on a problem you are trying to solve. Your bullet points have functional keywords that make sense, right? Even if you are trying to apply to all available roles, like I have told you to, right? It's important that you still even have like functional keywords for top three, four like functions, right? Oh, if a strategy, sales, marketing, or finance recruiter takes my resume, I think my resume will be able to pass through. Do you have those functional keyword skills and methodologies? Does your resume show progression? Or is your resume just a bunch of one-liners that doesn't even tell a story? Your resume should tell a story, right? If you have worked somewhere for 8 years, do you show progression within those 8 years? Can I see that you have been promoted? Can I see those things in your resume? Now, your title of your roles, do your title of your roles align with the title of your roles of the country that you are in? If you're already in the United States and you're still having titles of the roles of your home country, if I'm a recruiter, how do you expect that I know that this is what it means? If your company is not a popular company or it's not like a financial service institution, how do I know? Like, for example, if you work for Titanial Consulting and you just put Titanial Consulting there as a recruiter, why do you think a recruiter will know what Titanial Consulting is? But if you put educational consulting or educational technology, then they have an idea of the kind of industry that your company is in. Have you been able to do all of those things? You need to figure those things out. And then your networking strategy. A lot of people don't want to network in anybody. They don't want to talk to people. And think about it this way. This is not even for just international students. Even if you're a domestic student and used to work in a non-traditional field, and now you are working in like a business, you're in business school. Look at yourself like a plant. Will I call myself a farmer? No, I'm a gardener. I have plants. I grow peppers, tomatoes, and all of this in my garden. But if you're supposed to grow peppers, you're supposed to seed your peppers in the house first, then you transplant it. The process of transplanting your peppers, you can't just transplant a pepper that has been indoors and just put it outside. It will wither away and it will die. You need to take it through the process of bringing it out, taking it back in, bringing it out to get it accustomed. That's what networking is. You are either coming from your home country or you are doing something not traditional in America and you're trying to get into the business world. You are uprooting yourself from things that have been familiar to you and you are trying to replant yourself. Imagine not having the right support. You will wither away and you will shrink. And that's what is happening to a lot of people. So the only way that you can actually have the right support is talking to people. You have to build your own ecosystem of people. You have to build your own ecosystem of people that are doing things like you, people that have done things like you and they've been able to succeed. How many people have you spoken to? How many people have you networked with? A lot of people, when they network, they just feel like, oh, I just have to network just for getting an interview. No. Networking is building relationships. It's talking to people. You are building your own ecosystem so you don't wither away. And it is not just for now. It is also for the future. The networks that you build for the future. How many of you actually went out of your way to network? There are plenty of stories of how networking has really helped me. And it's not necessarily for them putting out my resume somewhere. I don't think I've even had any particular networking scenario where the person actually said, oh, I will drop your resume with somebody and then the person would interview me. Not really. I mean, I've sent my resumes to recruiters out there that probably have helped me. But when it comes to other people, they have taught me things. I've networked with people before I joined Microsoft that peradventure, by the stroke of luck, I do not know, got to interview me. What are the odds? That's because I networked with so many people. But if you're not networking with anybody, and if your entire goal of networking is you want to get something from the person, you're not going to get anything. So how many people did you network with? How many people did you talk to? Did you use a chain networking system where after you finish networking with somebody, you don't just end it there? You get the person to introduce you to another person, to introduce you to another person, to introduce you to another person. Did you do that? Or for most of you, are you only trying to network with people that look like you and talk like you and behave like you? I always make this joke. It's not a joke, it's actually the truth. A lot of people from Nigeria only want to network with Nigerians. And this is it. If you only want to network with Nigerians, then you didn't have to come for an MBA program. You didn't have to come to the United States. You could have stayed home in Nigeria. Why are you here? Why are you really here? If you only want to network with people that look like you, talk like you, and have your accent, why are you here? You need to ask yourself. Or maybe you are just following the bandwagon of people that just want to leave the country. But if you're actually serious about your own career development, you need to ask yourself, why are you here? Because a lot of times people don't know. You're just here, oh, I spoke to this Nigerian today, they didn't help me. Why? Is it only Nigerians that exist in the entire United States? How many people are even Nigerians in the United States? Why have you not opened yourself up to networking with other people? Why do you feel like you need to network with only people that look like you and talk like you? And why do you get very upset when people that look like you and talk like you do not want to respond to you? Maybe because you are coming off too strongly. Somebody has networked with me before and told me, oh, this is my number, call me. And I was just like, first of all, I will spend my time eating Indomie before I call you. But I was nice enough. I called the person. I told the person never to do that again. Why would you do that? Because I don't know what you all have been going to tell people in your net. So think about it really very well. Do you actually go networking with people with genuine intentions? Or maybe you do not. So you need to think about it. Network with people, have a lot of friends. And this might be very controversial because I know a lot of people here from different walks of life, different cultures, different religions. For a lot of people that are religious, your religion within the United States, it's not only people that look like you that practice those religions. And I'm going to not throw a jab at Christians because I'm a Christian. I won't throw a jab. Please, why is it that it's only a Nigerian church you want to go? What exactly is your problem? Why are you not networking with other people? What happened to the white churches? What happened to every other place where you can see other people that can actually provide you the mentality that you need to survive here? I don't understand it. How can you grow? If you're so hell bent on that, then you should not be here in the United States. And I'm not trying to say you should cut off ties from your community. I mean, I have a huge community of people here that I've actually known in Nigeria. But those people don't think like the way people thought 7 years ago. We are thinking in an advanced way. So you need to figure out, how exactly do I even get to talk to more people that are not like me, that don't think like me, that are not in the same religion as I am, that don't actually believe the same things that I believe. That way you network more, you have more insight, and you're able to grow your community and build your community instead of being so stuck in something that you have been too stuck in for a long time and has not helped you in any way. Now, the last one is your interviewing strategy. See, most people will tell me that they did their interview well and they didn't get the offer. First of all, if you didn't get the offer, you did your interview badly. And the reason is somebody did it better than you. And if somebody did it better than you, that means you were not good enough. No matter how you feel to say you put in a lot of effort, if you actually put in the best effort, you would have gotten it. But you didn't get it because somebody did it better than you. There is no other way to say it. Because if you start to think that, oh, maybe you did your best. And if your best is not getting you there, then you need to increase the threshold of what best is for you. Because for most people, your best is not good enough. It's not good enough for anybody. It's not just good enough. So how do you increase the threshold of your best? You need to increase the threshold of your best. If not, your best is not good enough and it's not going to work for anybody. So for your interviewing strategy, you need to figure out, how many interviews have I actually failed? For a lot of people, they only failed one interview. Maybe because they only got one interview. Those ones, their problems are within application, within resume, within networking. There's some people that had like 10 interviews and they failed all. If you have failed all of your 10 interviews, don't even bother fixing your resume. That you don't even have problems with those. You need to fix your interview stories. One, do you have your interview stories written down? When I mean stories that answer questions, I'm not talking about you having 5 stories. People are like, oh, I have 5 stories. I can tweak the stories differently. I interview people and I can see through bullshit. And if I ask you a question and the answer that you give me does not align with the question, that's the end. You are getting 0. There is no even, you are getting 0. You're not even getting half. You are getting 0. And people are like, oh, my interview was so nice. What do you expect me to do exactly? You expect me to be rude? What do you expect me to do? Like, I have to smile. I have to nod my head, and I have to crack jokes because I have to be professional. But did you get 0? Will I record 0 for you? I will definitely do that. And that's how most interviews go. So don't ever think that your interview was really amazing and that's why, and you don't just know what happened. What happened is that you did not do a good job and you failed the interview. And you need to be able to acknowledge that. So one, failing your interview is a lot about your stories. Now, it's not just about you being able to speak. Some people are able to speak. They are orators, but the content of their story is bad. Some people actually have great content, but they cannot really speak well. So you need to actually take time. All of the interview questions possible, and this is why we have the internet. Thank God for that. There are several interview questions. Come up with answers to your interview questions. Make sure that your interview questions follow the STAR framework: situation, task, action, result, and learning points style. Make sure it follows it. Make sure that your actions focus on competencies that align with the question that is being asked. Make sure that your situations focus on a problem you are trying to solve. Make sure your situations and tasks have metrics. Make sure they have things that could possibly go wrong if you don't do that work. That's the only way you stand out. Make sure that when you're talking about your actions, you say the first thing that I did was this, the second thing I did, thirdly, this is what I did. It helps your interviewer take notes for you. And make sure that you prepare way in advance. There is no miracle that is going to happen if you don't prepare way in advance for your interviews. You should prepare for your interviews even before you have an interview. What happens is if you do that way before you get an interview, you're very confident. You know what you're saying. What happens is if you've never prepared for an interview and then you get an interview, you are interviewing tomorrow or next week, you are going to fail it. I don't know how to say it anyway. Because maybe 5 years ago you would not. But this year, do you know how many people are preparing and are being aggressive? You will fail it. So if you right now you are not already preparing for your interviews, it's not too late for you. You need to start preparing for it aggressively. Write your interview stories down. Prepare for your interviews like you have an interview tomorrow. And then when you finally have those interviews, it's going to be easy for you to actually pass them. Because if you don't prepare, you're not going to pass it. You're not going to get it on your way. You have to put in the work. And it's not easy. Being in business school is very hard. There's nothing easy about it. But if you think you're just going to go and not prepare, hard, very hard life. So you need to choose your hard. You really need to choose your hard. Do you want your hard to be you have failed 10 interviews and you didn't get university recruiting, and so you have to be panicking when you're graduating next year? Or do you want your heart to be that, oh, I don't sleep till 12 a.m. every day writing interview stories? You need to pick your heart, and you need to prioritize what your heart would be. For a lot of people, we don't want to put in anything for our heart. You need to pick it. So those are the 4 things that I want you to really think through in your retrospective thinking to say, where exactly did I make a mistake? For a lot of us, it is in all 4 of them. For some of us, it is in 1. Right? And you would know there are people that I know that they have failed several interviews and they come to meet me and they're like, oh, I actually failed 15 interviews, but I want you to help me work on my resume. And I'm just like, first of all, you don't even know how to do a proper post-mortem analysis of your problems. If you failed 15 interviews, why are you fixing your resume? Yes, your resume might not be 100%, but they gave you 15 interviews. So the first thing you need to fix is your interviewing strategy. So do like a post-mortem analysis. Look at your job search strategy like a corpse, because first of all, it's a corpse because you failed it in your first year. So it died. So you need to figure out what killed it. Because if it was alive, you would have gotten a good job. So what killed it? You need to figure it out. Why some of you, they didn't actually die, but they are close to dying. So you need to figure out why existing dying. Proper post-mortem analysis to figure out where exactly you're making a mistake, and then you fix your mistakes. So those are like the 4 main things, right? And I know a lot of you have questions. So I'm just going to run very quickly for the next 2 minutes, and then I will open it up to questions that you have. And hopefully I have not been too mean. I feel I've been very, very mean, all the things I've been saying. But it will be okay. So I have already spoken about all of these things. Your interviewing strategy. Now, one thing about your interviewing strategy is your storybook should be built on the cloud. So put it in your Google Doc, OneDrive. Don't put it on your computer. Don't put it on your desktop. Your computer can blow up. If your computer blows up and you already have 20 stories written down, it's going to be a very, very huge shame for everybody involved. So you need to make sure that it's on Google Doc, OneDrive, somewhere that you can easily access, even if your computer is not accessible, right? So there is no story for that. There is no reason why you're not able to access it. And use your interview stories, interview questions rather. So I don't want to hear, oh, I have 28 stories. Do your 28 stories answer 28 questions? And even if you have some questions that are very similar, right? Even if your situation might be similar, ambiguity, leadership, problem solving, they might have similar undertone, like the situation might be similar in a way, but your actions are going to be very different. What's at stake is going to be very different. So rewrite those questions every time. Rewrite the answers every time. Don't say that, oh, I can do it, because I know you all can speak very good English, But speaking very good English is not about talking. It's not about telling stories in the interview, because you would ramble. You will ramble a lot. And your interviewer will know you are rambling. And the thing is, after your interview, you yourself, you know you rambled. And unfortunately, it's going to be a 0 for you on that point. And like I said, you have 0 minimal margin for error. So if you think you cannot make a mistake. You cannot make a mistake. And this is not to scare you, but you cannot make a mistake. Because if you make a mistake, there might not be coming back from that. Because the opportunities are very limited and they are very few. And I would not like you guys to miss out on those opportunities. So you can type your questions in the chat box. And if you have any questions, if I haven't overscared you, you can type your questions in the chat box. So I would like to introduce a program, which is the Career Refresh program. So Tatiana Consulting has Head Start program for incoming MBAs, which a few people on this call actually did attend. And then we have the Career Refresh program. So the Career Refresh program is very different. It's a 4-week program prepared to coach you with strategies for full-time positions primarily. Now, for people that are coming into business school who did not do the Head Start program, yes, they can benefit from the Refresh program, of course, but the Refresh program does not go into like pre-MBA opportunities and all those things. It's basically, we are talking through the 4 anchors of an effective job search strategy, and it's not really post-mortem analysis. I'm literally teaching you the application strategy, teaching you what you should do for your resume, how you should do your networking, and then your interview prep. We're going to go deep into interview storytelling, very intense interview storytelling and interview story writing. It comes with your resume, your cover letters are finalized, and also you also get a free 1-hour mock interview with me in addition to this program. This program is a, how do I call it? It's a group programs, a cohort-based program. So it's not a one-on-one program. It's not one-on-one. You're going to be in a group, in the cohort with people. And Tatiana Services is going to be able to post the link to the Refresh program if you would like to join. It actually starts in 2 weeks, August 4th. The reason why we're starting this early is for most of you here, you'll be attending National Black, which is the diversity conference, and National Black preparation is one of the anchors of the Career Refresh program. I do not want you to miss National Black preparation. It's very important. If you're not prepared for National Black, it's not going to be very, very exciting. National Black can be really, really, really overwhelming. So I require you to be really, really, very, very prepared for National Black. And that's what we are trying to prepare you for. Now, this is what the Refresh program actually does offer you. And in addition to that, you get your cover letter and you get your resume, and then you get 1 hour of mock interviews with me. The 1 hour of mock interview is different from like your interview storytelling. So you get all of that. So Tatiana Services, please, can you include the link of the Refresh program, please, in the chat? So Jessica, can you please clarify the companies that are local to your country? Are you saying we should replace the name of the industry, or we put the industry in bracket? Yes, you put the industry in bracket. For example, Tatiana Consulting in bracket, educational consulting. I've always said that it's not advisable. The person that told you that is lying to you, or the person is also confused. For university recruiting, apply for multiple positions counts for you, not against you. It actually counts for you. For university recruiting, you don't know what you're supposed to do. It is general. University recruiting is as generic as it can be. And that is where you can find people that studied law and people that studied medicine in your business schools, and they are working in banking and they are working in consulting, because it's all about transferable skills. I've had people interview for multiple roles in the same company. You can interview for multiple roles in the same company. So please don't be in that bucket of, no, please don't. You can apply to as many roles as possible. So far, the company says you can. I know for a lot of investment banks, they tell you you can only apply to 3 roles. That means they don't even want you to just apply to 1. That's why they're capping it at 3 anyways. So do we have any other questions? Awesome. If you want to book a one-on-one session with me, Tatiana Services will also include the link for my one-on-one session, which is just a 15 minutes ask me any question session, capped at 15 minutes. So if you want to ask me any questions in those 15 minutes, go ahead and ask. But I would advise that you register for the refresh program as soon as possible. I'm only hosting one refresh program this year. I'm not hosting more than that. I don't have the capacity for that one. So interview story prep, telling prep, I'm going to teach you how to write your interview stories. That's what it entails. So we are going to go through a couple of interview questions, and I will teach you how to write it, especially with the competencies, how to call out the specific actions in your competencies, and then you get to build your interview storybook. I'm not writing your interview stories for you. So something about Tatiana Consulting, I'm a teacher. I train you to do the work. I won't do the work for you because I strongly believe that if you do the work for people, they don't get to be serious. So I will never do the work for you. It will never. I can never. Like, I have interview storybooks of 30 pages. I will never give anybody my interview storybook. It can never even happen. You will have to kill me for that because I can't. But will I teach you? Yes, I will teach you, but I won't do it for you. So if you are motivated enough to learn, to do things yourself, I think you'll have a great time working with me. If you don't want to do things yourself, I might not be the best fit. And because I really, really push you to do your work. So that's just it. No, for this one, I might be able to review 1 or 2 stories, but I cannot review all of your stories because you will be writing up to 30, 35 stories. So I'll review your first 3 stories, and based off of that feedback, use that to write all of your other stories. I can't review all of your 40, 50 stories that you will be writing. I mean, you can pay me to review that, but that would not be covered in the refresh program, basically. Tatiana Services, can I have the link to my one-on-one session to be pasted in chat, please? So do we have any other questions? And you can come off mute.
Okay, please, how much is the refresh program?
It is $350.
Okay. And the one-on-one?
Which one-on-one? Like additional one-on-one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my additional one-on-one sessions depend. Right now, they're $75 an hour for additional one-on-one sessions.
All right, thank you.
So do we have any other questions? Sorry, please, the calendar link that was initially sent is not correct. Please use this new calendar link that has been sent that has Tatiana Consulting /event. So you need to email me, Jessica. So I need to know your specific, I would say your specific situation. So if you're a graduate student, yes, it can be targeted for you. If you're not a graduate student, if you're just a professional, so you're not looking for university recruiting roles, that will be some other package for you because this would not align. I mean, you'll be able to gain a few things, but it will not be proper for you. It will not be proper for you. Okay, do we have any other questions? So if you want to email me, you can email me at anu@tatianaconsulting.com. You can schedule a call with me with the calendly.com/Tatiana Consulting/event. And to register for the refresh program, you can register for the refresh program with the link. It's a 4-week, 8-hour or 10-hour program because it's more than 2 hours per week. And it covers all of these things, including your resume cover letter finalized and you having 1 hour of mock interviews. So register, and if you're a previous Tatiana client, you get discounts for joining the refresh program, of course. But if you're not a previous Tatiana client, you don't get any discount at all, unfortunately. I see this as an investment in your time and also an investment in my own time. So that's very, very significant. And I expect people to bring in all of their A game, their monetary investment, their mental investment, and their time investment also in making this happen for them. All right, so we are exactly at time. It was great speaking with you all today. That's Tatinara's WhatsApp number. You can email us at coaching@tatinaraconsulting.com. You can also send me an email, also at Anu. You can follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, schedule the calls if you would like to learn more about the Refresh program. And if you want to talk to me, it's over here. So thank you so much. I'll be here for the next 2-3 minutes to answer any other calls, but I would be pausing the recording. You will all be getting access to the recorded videos anyway. So if you want to watch it again, that'll be also fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.